I really want to know from you what drove you to the world of Indian cinema.
Gosh, I suppose my very first experience of Indian cinema was because I come from England. There's always been something of an Indian influence because we have quite a large Indian population. Let's just go for it. Listen, everything in life is a risk,
Right.
and sometimes you have to take risks. I had no idea how it would go, and because I tried acting and living in London. There's so many people who look like me, who sound like me, who want to be actors. I'm an actor because I want to act. I want to work. So, since I've been in India, I've done over 20 films now and 9 web series. Yeah, usually fairly small parts. But if I compare that to how it would be if I was in London or even in Los Angeles, and the thing is as well, with things like Netflix and Prime, the world cinema is just open for everybody now. It's accessible to everybody, and we're watching Spanish films and Turkish films and Greek films and Colombian films. Films from all over the place.
Namaskar and welcome to Meri Kahani Meri Zubaani, a show where stories find their true voice. Today, we have with us a remarkable artist whose journey is nothing short of cinema. From the theatres of England to the sets of Bollywood. Born in Northamptonshire, England, Benedict Garrett began as a child actor, later gaining fame as part of Dream Boys and for his appearance on Big Brother UK. But what truly sets him apart is his fearless decision to move to India and start anew, embracing Bollywood, Collywood, Tollywood and Marathi cinema with equal passion. From Jawan to the Kerala Story to the Railway Men and Rocket Boys, Benedict has shared screens with legends like Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Salman Khan, Hrithik Roshan and Varun Dhawan. A teacher, activist, performer and now an international actor, he bridges cultures through art and emotion. Let's welcome the multi-talented and truly versatile global artist Benedict Garrett in conversation on Meri Kahani Meri Zubaani. Hi Benedict.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Welcome to Meri Kahani Meri Zubaani.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's lovely to have you on the show. So your journey has been very inspiring and unconventional. You've come all the way down to India from UK and I really want to know from you what drove you to the world of Indian cinema.
Gosh, I suppose my very first experience of Indian cinema was because I come from England. There's always been something of an Indian influence because we have quite a large Indian population. And I remember as a child, under 10 years of age, on BBC Two, every Saturday morning, they would have the Bollywood morning. So they would show a Bollywood film, a classic Bollywood film, and then there was this show called Bollywood or Bust. I think it was like a quiz show about Bollywood films. And I just remember watching, I didn't understand anything what was going on, but I just remember thinking how magical it looked and the colours and the dancing. It was all so different to what I was used to because my family, we didn't know any Indians. We had no Indian friends. So it was all very foreign, but I just remember watching that. I couldn't tell you any of the films I used to watch, but that was how my kind of, at least curiosity and intrigue about Indian cinema and culture began. And throughout my life, particularly when I was a teacher in London. And about 70% of my students then were of South Asian background, so a very large Indian contingency. And one of my best friends, who was also a teacher there, she was of Gujarati background. Okay. And she actually said, do you want to come? She invited me to a house one day, and we sat down then and we watched Jane Tu Ya Jane Na.
Okay.
And really that was the first Bollywood film that I'd seen since I was a child, because between that time, they'd taken the Indian films off the main TV because they were then on satellite channels and cable channels. Right. So that was when my love affair sort of reignited, and particularly with Bollywood music. I really fell in love with the music more so. And then actually between the UK and coming to India, I left the UK and I went to Spain and then to the Netherlands for 5 years and then to India. And I think I'd gotten to my 40s and I've always done acting, but it was always something I did as an extra thing. Right. And then I saw an advert on, I think it was on Facebook, by my agent. He said they were looking for British and American actors. And I thought, well, I always wanted to go to India. And I was also in contact with an Indian family at the time as well, just to complicate things, just to add to the already fairly long story. And I thought, well, why don't I kind of kill two birds with one stone? Let me try the acting over in India. I'll finally get to India, and I'll also be there with the family. I can do more to help them and be of use to them. So, and in my 40s, it's kind of midlife crisis time. Okay. So you go, I'm going to take this risk. Let's do this and see how it goes. And touch wood. That's metal, actually, but I have to touch the floor. So far, it's all been going pretty well.
Amazing. That was quite interesting.
That's one way of describing it.
Nice. Okay, so you've had a very varied life in the UK. You've been a teacher.
Yes.
An artist, a performer. What made you take the leap, you had to quit all of that, come down all the way to Mumbai and start it all over again. So what was that push?
Well, as I said, I think I got to a point in my life in my 40s where I'd done a whole multitude of jobs as well as teacher. I worked for Transport for London, for the local government. I worked in Canada. I worked in a bank in Canada. I worked for a consultancy firm in London. So I've done all sorts of jobs. But the one job I've always done all my life in between is acting. So I'd always done acting as a child and through my teens, and then gradually got back into always. I started in theatre, and so I'd always tried different jobs. I'd always tried to be normal. I tried to live the normal life, And every time I kept going back to acting and realizing that really is what I love doing, and probably anything I'm ever really that good at, to be honest with you. So when I got to my 40s, and always said, look, by the time I'm in my 40s, I at least want to be doing the job I would love to be doing. And I saw this advert, and I thought, let's just go for it. Listen, everything in life is a risk.
Right.
And sometimes you have to take risks. I had no idea how it would go. And because I tried acting, and living in London, there's so many people who look like me, who sound like me, who want to be actors. And it's highly competitive. And yes, I did some theatre, and I was starting to do films here, the small roles in films, and gradually got a slightly bigger role in a film. But, I'm an actor because I want to act. I want to work. So, since I've been in India, I've done over 20 films now and 9 web series. Yeah, usually fairly small parts. But if I compare that to how it would be if I was in London or even in Los Angeles, it's so much more. I mean, to be fair, it's like an Indian coming to Mumbai, because it's not. I have an unfair advantage in some ways, because there's not so much competition. But I'm here because I want to act.
Right.
I took the risk, and it worked, and here I am.
Because there are few people here who look like you.
Yeah, there are.
Advantage.
And in fact, there's fewer than even I thought. I always imagined that there would be more people here. But for example, when I'm watching a particularly Bollywood film or even some South Indian films, most of the time, if I see a white face, I probably know them. Or they probably work for my agency.
Right.
Most of if it's a fairly new film, then most of us or we bang into each other at auditions and stuff.
Yeah.
And we know who our competition is going to be most of the time.
Right.
So yeah, it is a very small community. So yeah, it does. Obviously, therefore, I have an unfair advantage. I don't have so much competition because obviously when I go and see Indian people auditioning for roles, there could be like hundreds of people going around the block, and I think I feel so bad. But
so I think as an actor, I should go down all the way to London now.
Well, maybe. Although the only problem is that London's very multicultural, so we have lots of people of Indian background. So there'll still be a lot of competition there. And that's the only thing. What you really need to go to a country where there's virtually no Indian people.
Yeah.
And like for example, there's a couple of Indian actors who've gone, for example, to Seoul, to Korea, to do in the South Korean industry. And I would imagine there's obviously Indians.
You would have fewer Indian
fewer competition. I would imagine.
That gave me a good idea.
I'm not telling you to go. I want you to stay here, but I'm just saying, if you ever fancy a change.
Yeah. It's always good to try something new.
Well, exactly. You've got to broaden your horizons, open yourself to new opportunities.
Right.
And the thing is as well, with things like Netflix and Prime, the world cinema is just open for everybody now. It's accessible to everybody. And we're watching Spanish films and Turkish films and Greek films and Colombian films, films from all over the place now. You're welcome.
I've got a good idea in my head now.
She's going to start packing now.
Yeah. Alright. Okay. You've been a British actor, of course. And a British actor in Indian cinema. What were some of the cultural challenges or language challenges that you faced? Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things, and in some ways, this is kind of life in general well, at least in Mumbai. I don't know if in India generally, but in Mumbai, a lot of things can be very last minute, and same with film shoots. Sometimes, not all the time, but there have been quite a few times where dates have changed within very short notice, or locations have to change quickly, or something changes. Whereas, because I think in India you can do that far more easily. You know, if you need to change a location, you can give the police a little bit of money here and there and do whatever you need. Whereas I think in England, my experience of shooting, which is actually a lot less in England than now it has been in India, is that things have to be really planned, and it's very hard to change these things. So I think that's one thing. You just have to be prepared that things are going to change. And it used to stress me out, but now I'm just go with it. You know, it might happen, it might not happen, just go with it. That's kind of how I deal with that. So that's one thing. And I think on Bollywood sets, people speak English really well, generally. You know, most people, and a lot of the time people just speak English anyway on set. In South India, sometimes I've found that the way they explain things sometimes in English, I mean, a couple of the directors couldn't really speak any English, so then it's being explained to me. And the way they explain things can be a bit more confusing sometimes than a Hindi cinema. So I often have to re-ask them to explain what it is they just said. So that's, apart from that, obviously a big challenge can often be the heat. We don't get very much warmth in the UK very often. And that, I mean, it can really be very challenging because you're on set for hours, and sometimes you can be outside, so it's very difficult to, you can't get air conditioning outside. And then even inside the set, it can be really sweat inducing, but that is a big challenge.
So I think you prefer working here in terms of the language comfort in Bollywood compared to the South.
I love working anywhere, to be honest with you. It's just, I do have to kind of really, I still don't understand what you mean. So I feel a bit like an idiot having to ask them to explain again. But you want to be, you're doing the scene, you're the one in front of the camera. You want to make sure you've got it right, you're understanding exactly what the instructions are. So, or sometimes I might shout something out, and I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what they mean. I have to do it right now. So, usually that's more in South Indian.
Okay, you played diverse roles, intense drama to commercial entertainment. So, which characters do you connect more with?
Well, firstly, I like a character who has a very clear intention in their role. I mean, obviously, as an actor, you're supposed to, if it's not clear, you create that intention. But there are certain roles where you feel like they're a little bit like furniture on set. You're not quite sure really, what they're really adding to the scene. So that's the first thing. I actually really enjoy playing nasty people. I like playing villains and bad people because, I mean, I'm sure I can be a bit of an annoying person in my real. I know I can. I have my flaws. I'm not a perfect human being, and I can be an arsehole sometimes. But I try not to be most of the time. So when you get the chance to play these roles, and it's a bit like an outlet for that kind of side of the human character. So it can be quite fun to bring that out in a role. I really enjoy that. I find that to me, that's more enjoyable and more fun than playing like a hero role.
More versatility.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to play some pretty horrible people. And I mean, there are times when, for example, I've had to do historic films and it's based on reality. And for example, I've had to play British officers from like pre-independence times. And they also really get you thinking. You're thinking, my God. Well, you also begin to think what was going through their heads at the time, how they got this kind of power trip. And because to get into the role, you need to try and understand the mentality. And then when you get that uniform put on you, you begin to think, which is quite scary in a way. But if I'm going to be evil, if I'm going to be a nasty person, I'd rather it was in a safe zone, like a film set, so I can outlet, and I'm just playing it. I'm just playing it, and I'm playing it for a purpose, to entertain, to educate, to involve. There's a reason. But I find that more fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Those kind of roles.
The plain ones are like you don't need to do much.
No, exactly.
Correct.
So it's good to be nasty sometimes, within limits.
Where it's with the purpose.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
A good purpose, we should say, because you can be nasty with a bad purpose many times, but yeah, a good
Absolutely.
purpose.
Yeah, yeah. You are someone who bridges two cinematic worlds. So, what message do you have for people, who would want to travel down to some other place, start up an acting career?
Well, I mean, as I said a few minutes ago, the world is so much smaller now in terms of cinema. I mean, when I was young, we watched British films and American films. That was it, pretty much. Maybe occasionally Australian or Canadian, but always English language. Now you can go on Netflix, Prime, you can see cinema from all over the world. We are so much more exposed. And even if you don't go there, you can go on YouTube and see clips of things from any country, anywhere. So it's far more open now anyway. And what I would say to actors, as I also said earlier, if you're struggling, there are many good actors and actresses out there who are every day just struggling really hard, and they're not getting seen. And maybe, like me, you realise, well, maybe I have to change my circumstances. Yeah. I have to increase my odds, and that might mean me relocating, going to somewhere new, trying something new out, exposing myself to new opportunities and new cultures, and being open-minded to changing my life, taking that risk. Right. So my advice is do it. If you want to, give it a go. And if you
never know.
You never know. I would rather die knowing that I tried rather than not having.
Absolutely. Wow. So if you feel you should, just go and give it a
shot. I mean, obviously everybody's different. You've got different priorities in life and different things that you've got to do. But if you're an actor, if you're a single person and you've got really no other priorities, if you've got children and a family, that's a bit more different. You've got other things you have to think about. But if you're at a time in your life where you can take that risk, rather than just doing the same thing over and over again and it not working, try something new, try something different, go somewhere new, learn about a new culture, learn a new language, meet new people, expose yourself to something different, and it might work out.
Yeah. It is, you won't have that regret that you didn't give it a shot.
No, and I do think most human beings, when you're put in a situation where, like when I first arrived in India, I was excited, but I was also sometimes thinking, what the hell have I done? What the hell have I done? Because you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But I think sometimes when you're in a situation, just instinct kicks in. The survival, what do you call it? Instinct kicks in, and you do manage to get through. You do manage. Things do come together eventually.
You work across Bollywood, Tollywood, and Collywood.
And now Sandalwood I'm working in as well. And Marathi. I don't know what you call Marathi cinema.
Okay.
Is that called?
I don't know
does that have a wood at the end? Marathi.
I was just trying to think about that. I'll try to find out about that for sure. But which one is your favorite? And how different are these industries if you compare them, from your experience in the UK?
Well, I mean, as I said before, there is the last minute things. Things can change quite quickly sometimes. How different are they? I mean, apart from language, it's not that much different. I do think, I think one thing, this is going to sound like a bit of a criticism, but it's not. The thing is, Indian people generally, and this is a vast generalization, obviously this is not everybody, they can be both extremely polite and also come across as really rude at the same time, the same person. A lot of that is actually just surviving living in India or surviving living in Mumbai. You have to be a bit selfish sometimes. You have to just for yourself. But it can also come across a bit abrupt, a bit kind of, every person there for themselves. But they also are extremely polite. And actually, Indian people I know are amongst the kindest, most friendly, welcoming people. But they also have to be tough. And that can sometimes come across as being selfish. So on set, sometimes, for example, like in England, we would, if somebody needs to walk by, they go, oh, excuse me, can I come through? Excuse me, can you? Whereas in India, you go, side. And the first time I heard that, I was like, what? But you just have to be prepared for the abruptness, and it's just saving time. It's just being quick. They don't think about, am I being polite or not? Am I hurting people's feelings? It doesn't matter. They're just getting their job done.
Right.
So it's much more matter of fact like that. Whereas British people are notoriously, it's sort of a pretend politeness, We're giving the air of being polite, but we're just doing it just because we feel we have to.
Yeah.
We're not doing it because we really care. It's like when someone when somebody in England meets you and you go, "Oh, how are you?" They don't actually want to know most of the time. They're just saying it because they have to.
It's just being formal.
Just being formal, exactly. And it's the same as and in London, particularly people. If you're on the tube, like the metro, and you bump into somebody, or somebody bumps into you, you're always the one that says sorry. Sorry, and they bumped into you, and then they say, and there's a whole sorry match going on, and actually nobody really cares. You just want to get on with your life, but we do it because.
You should.
We're just wasting time. Well, I don't know if you should. Sometimes the Indian way is better. Side, and just get gone, you know?
Okay.
Life is short. You got to get on, you know?
Right. Yeah, so they're like very clear, like, now we need to get this done. Like, move.
Oh, and then the other time, on the other extreme, Indians can be really polite if they bump into you, or if you bump into them, and then they do the whole, you know, touching it, and that can take more time. So it just manifests itself in different ways in different times.
Right.
So.
Depending on the circumstances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. That was a very interesting difference. I don't think anybody could have thought of that.
I don't know. That's just something I think it's also because I'm a bit of a homeboy, so I do like to be by myself, but I'm also a very sociable person as well. But I really observe people, and I think we're always often very quick to judge people and we don't often take a step back and think, yeah, but why? Why are people like that? And initially, when you come to Mumbai, you can feel like, oh my God, I'm just under attack here. It's really difficult. People are just constantly pushing you out of the way and pushing on the train and doing it, and it's so chaotic. And then you think, yeah, but you have, if you live here, and that's how it is, you've got to adjust yourself. One rule that I learned fairly quickly is, listen, things aren't going to change for you. And this isn't just India. It's wherever you go in the world, because of how you've grown up, things are going to be different to what you're used to. Right. And some of those things you're going to find hard to adjust to. But it ain't going to change for you. You've got to change yourself.
You need to adapt.
You've got to adapt, yeah.
A lot of deep insights right from you. That's amazing. You shared screens with some of the most iconic Indian actors, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Salman Khan, Hrithik Roshan. What has been your most favorite moment or memorable moment?
Well, apart from Amitabh Bachchan teaching me how to brush my teeth, it was for toothpaste advert. So,
okay.
I think for me, actually, one of the most, I mean, it's nothing terribly exciting, but for example, I spent a good time having a really good chat with Pankaj Tirupati. He was a really nice guy to chat with. But perhaps the friendliest person was, you know, Yash, rocking star Yash from KGF, KGF 2. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, come and grab a seat, let's have a chat." And we just had a lovely talk about his life, and he gave me advice about, you know, acting. And so it's those kind of memories that stay with me more. There's nothing particularly out of the ordinary that's happened on set. I try. In some ways, I don't want to know, in a way, who I'm acting with, because I don't want to be like, "Oh my God, these are big people," and get all butterflies and even more nervous. Because I just want to go on set and just treat them like they're a co-actor. They're a co-actor, and I don't get all fanny like some people get, because I just think, look, they're on set to work. I'm here to work. We're just co-workers. We're doing the same job, you know. And you've got to be professional. They've got to be professional, and you just. Right. Do the best scene you can. Yeah. But yeah, the times when they've, you know, been just frank and friendly and open. And,
right. Yeah. So any particular moment that has really kicked in, or something that you can't forget? You found it.
Well, I mean, I was murdered by Salman Khan. No, well, I was strangled by Salman Khan and then murdered by Varun Dhawan. Okay. So that's quite one thing to say, that you were killed by Salman Khan. But no, nothing very exciting. I say just them. I had lovely chats with Pankaj Tirupati, Varun Dhawan. I had nice because he used to live in England. Okay. He studied over there. But nothing out of the ordinary, I'm afraid. Right. Sorry.
No, that's completely fine. That's your choice. I just wanted to get some funny moments out of you. Yeah, sometimes you just have like a funny moment on set, or something that when I worked in the South.
Yeah.
I've had these superstars who've been like so humble, like having these large four-door vanities. Yeah. And when they come down on the set, you wouldn't even feel like you're that big mega stars.
Yeah. Well, most of the time I would agree. Yeah. I've not found any of them to be sort of divas or arrogant or above you in any way. Right. They're just, you know, and a lot of time, yeah, they're very friendly,
Yeah.
or they just do their job. They just, you know,
Yeah, so really appreciate that thing about them.
absolutely.
So we've got to know a lot of amazing things about you, and now we're quickly going to go on to a rapid fire round
Okay,
with
okay.
some very, very quick answers from
All
you.
right, okay.
All right. So the first question: Bollywood or British cinema?
Well, now I watch a lot more Bollywood. I like watching Bollywood, particularly because I'm like, oh, I've worked with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it almost feels like I'm just watching Friends.
Okay.
And I don't watch much British cinema now, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Very rarely.
Okay. So one Indian dish you love.
Well, I do suffer from the English disease of not being able to eat spicy food. So things that I do love like poha.
Okay.
I love a good poha utma in there for breakfast.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's something
Favorite Indian
I
dishes.
look forward to.
Okay. Most challenging Hindi word to speak.
Do you know what? In principle, I should be able to do them. But the hardest one for me to say that I always have to repeat, and I can never get it right. Is where we are right now. I say I want to have single for car road. I can't say the. It's the same with like pie.
Yeah.
You know, that's not an easy one for us to say. And there's the like it's very hard to hear the difference
Yeah.
between those letters.
Okay.
Yeah, because in England you can say the thing in the pretty much the same in English. So.
Right. Okay. Dream co-star.
Oh, I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna take two, and then because they're married to each other. So one of them would be like Deepika Padukone because she's a brilliant actress and she's stunning. And the other is her husband because he's just
Indeed.
nuts. And I would love to watch him do his craft because I just love how he performs on camera.
Ranveer Singh.
Ranveer Singh.
Yeah. Okay. Mumbai monsoon or London rains?
Listen, I love Mumbai, but the monsoon season, I can't, because I live in Naigaon and the roads are terrible. And then when the monsoon comes along, I have to walk to my gym. I get water up to my knees. When it rains, okay, in London it rains all the time, all the time, but it's not as heavy. It's not as light, so the water doesn't tend to linger.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have it like that. Mumbaikars are mental though, because when monsoon season comes along, they're like, oh, let's go to Lonavala and jump in and out of a swimming pool, even though it's rainy. I like to jump in and out of a swimming pool when it's hot.
Yeah. Yeah, we have more fun when it's raining.
They do. Mumbaikars love monsoon.
Yeah. Okay. The role you love to play the most.
The role I love to play the most. Well, yeah, just some really dark, horrible villain who wants to take over the planet. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one role that you've loved the most?
That I've loved the most. Oh, I really enjoyed playing. This was in a South film, actually, a Tamil film called Conjuring Ganappan. I played when he was a British officer who then died and became like this ghost, devilly creature, and I loved playing the devil kind of character.
Right. Wow. Okay. Describe Benedict Garrett in one word.
Hungry. In two ways.
Okay.
Literally, because I'm always eating. I'm a big boy. And also because, even in my mid-40s, I'm still hungry for what I deem to be successful, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, and hungry to play new roles and new challenges and do new things. And, hungry.
Wow. That was a very inspiring and very, very motivating insight from you.
Thank you.
And it was lovely having you on Meri Kahani Meri Zubaani.
Likewise, it was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Benedict's story is a proof that art knows no borders, only passion, no limits. From a teacher in London to a performer in Mumbai, he has shown that transformation begins the moment we follow our truth. For more such inspiring stories, keep watching Meri Kahani Meri Zubaani.